asked by the wonderful Julia. How are you doing today, my friend?
I'm doing pretty good. My first time casting Winter Circuit, and we have two exciting matchups today. We just followed a very exciting Praxis versus Sarian, and Blizzard took the first set of today, I believe. So we're gonna have to decide today who the third victor today. Elysium versus Winter. This is a cross-ping matchup, which means there are some special rules in play. Rob, I know we were talking a little bit about them before, but starting with the Wraith on Temple of Purgation, we have some decisive strike rules and some exhaustion rules. I don't know if you want to explain a little bit more about that.
I would absolutely love to. Thank you very much for that opportunity. All right, with Wraith today on the cross ping rules, since we have Elysium from EU versus Winter from NA, we have all exhaustion perks are allowed except for the use of Dead Hard, Overcome, and Sprint Burst, and of course, Dramaturgy is general ban, so no use of that regardless. And yeah, so all exhaustion perks are pretty much allowed besides the list mentioned. And on top of that, there's also the 4x decisive strike rule. Essentially, it means that um, all four survivors can equip decisive strike, and it may be used one time per team. Once it's used, it's not allowed to be used again. If they do, it's going to be a penalty, and that includes missing the skill check as well. So teams need to be careful and very mindful and strategic about using their decisive strike. Otherwise, it's just going to pretty much fall flat and get no value, or you know what I mean. Like they have to be very mindful of when they
Mhm.
use it. So a very interesting cross ping balancing there being employed. I think this is actually the first time that we've ever used cross ping balancing, and I think this is the first time in competitive DBD in general is that cross ping balancing is being used. So huge shout out. That's really cool.
Yeah, today is the first time. You're right about that. But we did see some earlier today. I think we had a cross-ping matchup being the first matchup. It was Mercy, which is an EU team, versus Blizzard, which is from South America. I did spy a bit of decisive strike shenanigans being used on a hillbilly set as well. People were taking downs for each other. A lot of waiting out the decisive strike timer, slugs on the ground, stuff like that. You're welcome to go back in the VOD and check it out. But we're gonna be seeing it once again coming up in the race set, which is on Temple of Purgation. We have Elysium on the killer, that's Zeno from Team Elysium, and Winter on the survivor, that's Acid, Julian, Jaden, and Kenshi.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this first set. I quickly wanted to go over the sets we're going to be seeing tonight in this Winter v Elysium matchup really quick. We talked about the cross-ping balancing, we talked about the matchups and what's happened beforehand, but let's talk about the sets today and what we'll be seeing because the maps have been changed for the balancing and whatnot. And let's go and start off with the first set we're going to be seeing right in a few minutes, I imagine. That's going to be Wraith on Temple of Purgation. Pretty big map. It's the map that Plague released with. I'm interested to see how this is going to go. Wraith is very mobile. He can move around the map pretty quickly. I believe like what 6 meters per second. It's pretty quick. Um, but yeah, that's going to be a very interesting set to start off with. Following that, we've got Spirit on Azerov's resting place, and there's some cross ping balancing involved in that as well. Or rather, for the Spirit, it's specifically non-cross ping balancing that affects it, and that's if it's a non-cross ping balancing set, meaning it's meaning it's like, say, for instance, NA versus NA or EU versus EU, the usage of pain resonance is not allowed. So cross ping balancing, they can use pain resonance on Spirit. Legion will be the next set, the tiebreaker set actually for Wrecker's Yard. So that'll be interesting. A lot of interesting maps today, right, Julia?
Yeah, a lot of interesting maps for sure. We've been seeing them a lot today. That's what's kind of fun about the Winter Circuit. We're trying out some new stuff, seeing if these maps are good for the killers, good for the survivors, whatnot. And yeah, Dead Sands was one we saw earlier that I have only seen once before in AHL earlier this year, which was, well, last year, I guess it is 2026. But yeah, that was pretty interesting to watch, pretty fun to see what the unknown can do on a new map that's not Wrecker's Yard, not our standard Wrecker's Yard or Coal Tower or anything like that. We will see some Coal Tower later today in a later Ascent versus Radiant matchup, so that at least is a familiar map. But doing some experimentation, which I think will be very much fun.
Absolutely. I am also looking forward to that. And, a lot of good matchups today, and that's one of the benefits of the winter circuit here is that we get to see a lot of very even matchups, and it's really cool to see that, honestly, because that kind of gives the teams more of a fair fighting chance while still having that that very tight competitive edge to it. You know what I mean? What I'm just loving the entire concept of Winter Circuit. It's just got so much to it that I'm really enjoying so far. Um, and yeah, with that being said, we're gonna be loading in here shortly to the first set of Winter versus Elysium. I'm excited to see what we see on this first Wraith set.
Me too. Yeah, we had some 2-0s earlier today between the two teams that played earlier, or the four teams that played earlier, the two matchups. So I wonder if we'll see some more nuance. There were some pretty tight matches though. I'm not gonna say that 2-0 just says everything, because they had some pretty close games. But yeah, Winter versus Elysium, like we said, we are gonna be loading into the Temple of Purgation. And keep in mind, once again, we mentioned this earlier, but Decisive Strike is in play here.
Absolutely, but they got to make sure to only use it once. And that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we are loading into the first match of the Wraith set with Xeno from Team Elysium on the Wraith versus the Survivors. Like you mentioned earlier, Julia, of Winter being Julian, Kenshi, Jaden, and Acid. We already find someone very quickly. Again, Wraith, very mobile, can move across the map very quickly. First tag coming through already. And yeah, that's pretty wild. We also see Hex Totem here. And I know for sure that someone on the Survivors team of Winter's already seen it as well. Kenshi's already cleansing a totem in the background, and Jaden's in chase right next to the totem that we saw next to the gen. So far, lasting a decent amount of time here without a hit, so that's pretty good for the Survivors of Winter, but they need gen progress for these chases.
Yeah, no gen progress so far. We saw that was a double heal onto our injured survivors, so all survivors off the generators for now, and it looks like the only gen with a bit of progress has been spotted as well. That's our Jake Park getting forced off of this generator at 12, and we are taking chase onto our detective tap. I don't know if there's a pallet over here. I think this might be a tag. He does not make it to this pallet, this filler pallet. That will be a Sloppy Butcher tag, so that Sloppy Butcher might hurt a lot. We've been spreading out our tags here and playing a bit of hit and run. That will be a pallet dropped. We're playing this pallet, and I wonder if the first down will come soon.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think it should take a little bit of time before we see the first down, especially because Acid was very keen on taking a good hit rather than being zoned to the map after his injury. So that was really nice to see, honestly. Yeah, some very interesting and good pathing here from Acid, just making sure not to get himself zoned anywhere and kind of just having the confidence to send really really interesting really interesting jiggies here and there. He's done it twice now so far. I think Xeno's starting to catch on a little bit, but yeah, first down coming in, and all survivors are healthy despite the hit and run play style.
Hmm. Yeah, healing up Jaden there. Kenshi is off the gen, off of the heal. We do have Julian on a generator somewhere on the map, and Ruin is gone now. Ruin and Undying both out of the trial. We only have Sloppy Butcher and Painrez to work with for the rest of the game, and getting a kick there. No eruption applied, as of course we don't have it. And I mean, kind of slowing down a little bit. I think with a survivor on the hook, there might be somebody stealthing for the pull, but we do see Jaden. We see on the HUD there are two survivors on generators now, which means there's nobody going in for the pull. I wonder, now that he's said he's gotten spotted,
Oh,
maybe Julian will be rotating. And look at that block from Xeno. He blocks off the shack pellet, gets the hit. Sloppy Butcher tag coming through once again. And is Acid getting unhooked here is the question.
that's a great question to ask, honestly. And Xeno just making really good use out of his time here, getting some injuries on the board as Acid was on hook, but he does get unhooked in the distance. So now we're gonna be able to maybe potentially see a full heal onto Acid here. Julian's got it almost completed. We do catch up with Jaden here, and that's gonna be another down here. It looks like he may not be playing for a tunnel out, actually, which usually is affordable on Wraith, back in the day on the DDS sets. But this time we're on Temple Purgation. We might be seeing a basement hook, actually. Might be a little bit more preferable to hold this hook and maybe even see the tunnel out onto Jaden instead. I mean, if you just look at the board, there's just really no gen progress at the moment. There is some. Okay, all right, never mind. Uh, I think we just kind of underestimated Winter. And they actually have quite a bit of gen progress on the board at the moment, but we need to see a gen pop, essentially is what I'm saying.
Yeah, and this looks like a survivor might be caught out at this filler pallet. Does he win the 50? No, he does not fall in time. That will be a down over the pallet. Kenshi going down. We're going to be cleaning up a little bit, maybe going back to the hook. I think we're leaving Kenshi on the ground. And yeah, the problem with Temple of Purgation that the survivors seem to be finding now is there's only 2 tiles on the entire map. The rest is just fillers. Some of them being kind of unsafe. We do have Shack as well. And I think this might be a tag onto our Jake Park here. Yeah, that was not a body block coming through with the borrowed time. We are going to be, I think, going back up the map, maybe playing for Kenshi's pickup now. He is still slugged on the ground.
That's right. And we do come back to pick up Kenshi. Kind of just got a lot of pressure on the board right now. And I mean, it's just like this map seems like it's, you know, Temple of Purgation seems like it's a very big map, but with a killer that's as mobile as Wraith is, it doesn't feel like it's that much of a punishment for a killer this mobile. You know what I mean? I mean, so many injuries on the board right now. Sloppy Butcher doing some serious work. We still have Pain Resonance, and of course, Ruin and Dying were cleansed off rip pretty much into this match. Every gen with high progress getting interrupted and regressing again. And with everyone injured on the board now, it's kind of looking a bit difficult to really do anything about it.
Yeah, the problem with Dino is cloaking, going across the map and finding an instant tag almost every time. They need to maybe clean themselves up a little bit, get some heals off, get some unhooks, but the game is not slowing down for the survivors. Zeno is just in chase constantly, it seems like, catching every rotation out, but this pull will be for free, so a good job by Acid to get that pull. Acid will be going back on the hook. That's a second stage for him. We do have a death hook now at 5 generators. That's 4 hooks at 5 gens total, Rob. So this is looking a little bit tricky. We do have some gen progress on the board, so we'll see if Winter can finish that off.
Absolutely. It's going to be very, very difficult, but it's very, very necessary at the same time. I mean, oh, what an insane mind game from Zeno. Almost won that 50-50 twice in a row, actually. Unfortunately, failed it the second time. But like, it just seems like this is a very tough set. We do finally see our first generator popping and off in the distance, but not without several hook stages on the board, and someone's already on death hook as well. All 4 fresh hooks are claimed, by the way, Julia. That's pretty crazy for a set like Wraith.
Yeah, for sure. And we do see Zeno kind of adopting not really a tunneling playstyle. He's just going across the map, and there is another down onto our ace. Kenshi going down. I think we're just going to be taking the hook here. Yeah, Zeno's just been taking these hooks. Doesn't really care about tunneling one survivor out of the game, given that most of these chases are quite fast. Most of these tags are coming through fast, but I think we did slug our ace and might be going back to the hook now, Rob.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea at all. Unfortunately, couldn't get the body block with the endurance off hook, but we do take another down. This is gonna be another death hook so early into this match. Also, just got to say, I love the fit, by the way. It's a very good Wraith fit. Gotta love this Slipknot collection. Really big shout out to Slipknot. But yeah, anyways, no, this is a lot of hook stages on the board for the completion of 1 gen. Kenshi is fully recovered on the ground, but no one's able to come for him just yet, and unfortunately losing the 50, not able to drop the pallet in time. But it looks like we're finally picking ourselves up in the background. Julian kind of being the saving grace of Winter right now, and keeping, well, I was going to say everyone alive, but unfortunately that's the elimination of Acid there. And now everyone else is back up on their feet and able to do something, but we kind of needed all 4 survivors alive just to pop 1 singular gen, Julia. Xeno's got the most pressure I think I've ever seen in a Wraith set.
And that's with Decisive Strike, by the way. He's playing around the DS rule perfectly. He's not tunneling anyone. He's just getting down fast. That's going to be leaving Julian, I think, going back to the hook. But he hasn't encountered a single Decisive Strike because he straight up hasn't been tunneling. He's been just catching survivors off of gens in rotations. And this is a survivor at the shack now. I think he's going to be leaving, though, going back to catch another survivor off guard. Maybe try to confuse the comms a little bit. And it seemed to kind of work. To be fair, there's not really much pre-running to do when the entire 12 side of the map has no pallets. They've already been used, and that will be Julian going down on the generator, and another survivor in sight, actually.
Oh yeah, that's a little bit risky here, unfortunately. I mean, this map is pretty big. Oh, not gonna respect the pallet. Just gonna swing through it. Jaden and Julian both down. Only Kenshi remains. And I'm glad that you mentioned that, by the way, about the decisive strike rule, because that kind of gives us a nice picture to paint, really, of why Xeno's playing the way that he is and why it's working so well. Unfortunately, missing that swing onto Kenshi, and we're able to drop the pallet. I think he was just a little bit too far ahead. I don't think Xeno anticipated how far ahead he actually was. But if Kenshi can last long enough, maybe we'll see someone get picked up in the distance. Hopefully soon. We do make Shack Pallet, and gonna actually. Oh, we're gonna fake the greed actually. Very, very interesting. Xeno, you got Xeno's respect for that. He's like, all right, Kenshi, I see.
Rob, I don't think anyone's getting picked up. This is a 4K4 on the
I
Wraith.
think you're right.
This is incredible, actually. I don't think I've ever seen a 4K4 on a DBDL set before, but these survivors have done it, and they do manage to pick up our Lara Croft, but he's just playing whack-a-mole now. He can't really make anything with the distance. He's just playing this TL, and I think this might be wraps, Rob. I don't know about you, but maybe he could get Jake picked up, but after that, I don't see how they can recover from this.
Yeah, honestly, so when I said a survivor could get picked up, I wasn't implying the game would be saved. I was just saying, maybe this,
Yeah.
can we agree to disagree? I think we were both right. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. Fair enough.
okay. Anyway, yeah, whack-a-mole. That was fantastic. I kind of died laughing at that. But yeah, we get all the pickups. We're gonna go and end the game here at 4K4. Very, very well played by Xeno. And it just seemed like the survivors of winter were just really struggling to hold themselves firm against this kind of pressure from a Wraith set. You mentioned it, 4K4, very, very high win condition here for Wraith. Can we see a similar result once we get winter on the Wraith and Elysium on the survivor side? We'll have to see, honestly. Xeno's kind of instructing Jaden where to crawl so he can get his cinematic Mori. Uh, Okay, all right, there we go. Maybe we're just gonna hook.
Yeah.
All right, fair enough.
I think Jaden had a little bit of wiggle progress, and he wasn't gonna make the hook otherwise, and that might be why. So good on Jaden for crawling to the hook for Zeno. But we will be wrapping it up here. That's a 4K5 win condition for the other team, which will be a little bit difficult, I think, Rob, especially as the Wraith, a killer who has good mobility but doesn't have the strongest chase power. And I mean, on Temple of Purgation, maybe they're not too used to the map, I'd say, but it still will be very, very hard.
Oh, absolutely. I think you nailed it saying it like that. But we'll have to see, honestly, what happens when we turn the tides here. See how Elysium handles the survivor side of this Wraith set on Temple of Purgation. Um, I think you mentioned it very well earlier about the decisive strike rule. Will we be able to play into it this time on Survivor side, or will we see the same kind of strategy from our winter killer player here? Either way, though, wow, what an introduction to this matchup, right? Just insane pressure from Xeno here. Um, I don't think I've ever seen pressure like that in a Wraith set, or honestly, almost just any set here in DBDLeague. That was quite insane. Um, Kind of just playing with the hit and run style, right? I mean, it's a tried and true method on Wraith. One of his best play styles, in my opinion. Just keeping everyone injured. You have Sloppy Butcher. You can slow down resets and just make survivors waste their time, and that just means less gen pressure, right?
Hmm. Yeah, slow the game down. You need to play super safe. You need to have good comms. And without perfect comms, I mean, it's gonna be a difficult game. Like we just saw, there were a lot of free tags. There were a lot of rotations caught, like I said. Um, and that sloppy butcher just being spread around over and over and over again. And sooner or later, everything. I think it was about halfway through the match that every single survivor was injured with sloppy butcher only a few minutes in, and that really, really cost them. It's kind of a tough set if it snowballs a bit like that.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned it pretty well, honestly. I mean, snowball is the pretty much, if I understand it correctly, anyways, it's the entire point of hit and run, right? You get everyone injured, and it just becomes super difficult to really get any gen progress. Heals take forever because you have Sloppy Butcher on all four survivors. It just becomes really difficult to do anything, right? So yeah, you mentioned it very well. And I completely agree with that. I mean, we just had injuries after injuries after injuries, and then downs came in pretty quickly left and right. it just felt like the survivors of winter couldn't really do anything. It was very tough. But we'll have to see how Elysium handles it. Maybe they'll have a different strategy coming into this on the Survivor side, and it looks like we're going to see Julian returning for his killer arc here for Team Winter. I'm excited to see it because he kind of had a bit of a glow up here in All Halls League last tournament. It was pretty fun to watch.
Very well said, a glow up, yeah. Yeah, maybe, I think in the previous set, we didn't see Shaq dropped, too early, they had a TL, they were just using those fillers a lot, not really much else. There was a tile in the bottom right-hand side of the map that a maze tile, and they did use the palette there, but I mean, Xeno just played around it perfectly, managed to play around all the filler palettes. Nothing seemed to be out of his reach. He was able to play with the Wraith's power. Like I said, not the strongest chase power, but still definitely able to do something at those filler palettes on Temple of Purgation. And who knows, maybe this map is gonna be the new Wraith map. It seemed to do pretty well for him.
Yeah, absolutely. I would have to agree with that. Yeah, I mean, just really good pressure from Zeno on Wraith. I think it just came down to like the hit and run play style, like we both talked about earlier, and just communication is a big thing with stealth killers specifically, especially on indoor maps. I mean, obviously Temple is outdoor, but communication is very key to stealth killer maps or stealth killer sets. That being said, though, we're going to be loading in here pretty shortly, and we'll see how Elysium handles this on the Survivor side. And again, I mean, I mentioned this earlier, but maybe they'll have a different strategy coming into this. Um, I'm excited to see what they're going to be able to do here because we need to pop 2 generators for this win condition on Elysium side.
I think Julian has to play for a hit and run play style here. If you play for a tunnel out, you're gonna have to eat through decisive strike. You're gonna have to eat through a lot of pallets, a lot of filler pallets, like we said. Not really much to do there. I think 2 gens will pop by the time you kill a survivor at least. Um, and maybe a hit and run play style, you have a chance. It will be very difficult. But yes, we are loading into the Temple of Purgation now. We'll have to see what Zeno does here. We'll have to see what Julian does here, excuse me. We'll have to see what the survivors of Elysium can do. And yeah, starting off.
Absolutely. We already see somebody pretty early into the match as well. We see 2 people actually. We're gonna go and pre-drop this filler and decide to chase Silhey instead of I believe that was Bubbo, but which by the way, Bubbo has joined the roster of Elysium following the All Hallows League tournament, which is really cool to see. We love Bubbo. Very nice to see him on Elysium now. And we do get a tag pretty early on, and I don't know. I'm looking at the perk build here, and I'm noticing a distinct lack of a certain perk that would make the hit and run style very strong, and that's Sloppy Butcher. It's not on board this time. We are seeing kind of like a more of a 3-gen play style here. It looks like, and that's just not going to benefit you in the win condition here, unfortunately.
Yeah, no Ruin Undying either, which we saw in the previous trial. And yeah, Sloppy Butcher, the lack thereof is going to hurt the hit and run playstyle if that is what is Julian is going for. And we do see a tag onto Zeno. He gets caught out at that generator. Gonna be taking his tag to Shaq, and Julian will be picking the gen with Dragon's Grip and Eruption. And that is another perk that could start a snowball, by the way. Dragon's Grip, Yvonne tasting the unfortunate end of the Dragon's Grip. We'll be heading back to this filler palette, but this is maybe the momentum that Julian needs if he does get this down here.
Yeah, and momentum is a really good buzzword here because it's really necessary to build momentum up in this early stage of this match here. I mean, Julian needs to make kind of a pretty, I dare say, almost impossible win con, just because he needs to prevent any gen from popping. And maybe we'll see if this is the build to do it because maybe hit and run isn't exactly specifically the necessary playstyle, but more so just slowing the game down in whatever way you can manage. Because Dragon's Grip is going to be very impactful here, I'd say. And we do get a. Oh, that was the exposed down from Dragon's Grip, still active on Yvonne here, and that's going to be a down pretty quickly onto Yvonne here. We're going to go and probably follow up onto somebody here. We got multiple gens with good progress. Julian's doing what he can to keep it from any gen from popping. We got 2 with good progress, Shaq and this gen next to it. So that's a little bit scary for Julian, but right now handling it pretty well.
Yeah, that will be the first hook of the game. The first pain res coming through. It looks like Julian has his sights set on this pain res next to the main building, and he'll be providing a little bit of gen regression, probably on that top side generator that he just checked out earlier. There is an injured survivor here. That's Zeno playing this filler palette next to the generator, but like you said, so many gens high on progress. Julian has to stop them all somehow. We will be getting the down onto Zeno, so that is a good thing for him, but I mean, the pull is free. We will be slugging now, going back to the hook, trying to kick this gen. And yeah, look, there's an ace trying to finish the gen, trying to get the tag on. And what will Julian do here now? There's such impossible chances. But I mean, maybe we're still at 5 gens. I'm not gonna count him out yet.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's worth mentioning that, right? We're going to go and pick up Zeno, and it looks like Bubbo actually just touched the Dragon's Grip generator, and we're going to go and follow up on this because we have Eruption on that gen, and Bubbo only takes 1 hit to get Eruption value. So definitely worth going after this, leaving Zeno on the ground, just kind of building some more pressure for the survivors of Elysium to deal with, which is really nice to see. Julian's doing pretty well, I'd say. This is definitely, like you mentioned, building that momentum, right? This is very crucial to. Oh, I think we're gonna see the down here. Yeah, that's unfortunate for Bubbo, but really good pressure right now from Julian.
Mhm. Yeah, Dragon's Grip might be our saving grace here for Team Winter. We did get quite a bit of pressure from it, actually. The survivors giving 2 downs to Dragon's Grip so far in the trial, being 1 on Bubbo and 1 on Ivan. And there's 2 pain res hooks coming through already. We do see Zeno healed up to full, by the way. That's a nice result of Sloppy Butcher helping with the heal, or the lack thereof at least. And Silhe taking chase now, probably gonna give a tag. And dropping off of the main building, he actually manages to avoid the tag a bit, but does get tagged over the filler pallet there. And do we commit here, or do we go to save the generator? It looks like we're going to be trying to stop the gen, though there is a filler pallet here for the survivor to work around.
By the way, I believe that Silhe actually had a balanced landing, and if he didn't take that pallet, I think he would have gotten away without a hit. So that's kind of unfortunate. We are going to slug Yvonne. Zeno's working on a gen, almost completed, by the way. So the survivors of Elysium are making a pretty big comeback at the moment, looks like. We're going to meet the Tycon here shortly, and that's going to be the second hook onto Yvonne here. We've already used Pain Resonance on both hooked survivors, but that's the Tycon met for Elysium here. And all we need to do is pop 1 more gen, and that's going to be the win con. So we're getting pretty close, I'd say, to a very even match.
Yeah, I mean, Julian's honestly giving quite a bit of amount of pressure, considering his win con. That's a light coming through on the shack window, by the way. Zeno check spotting it well, though, does not fall for that double back, and will
Oh,
be taking a tag through the window. Unfortunately for him, does not read the second double back there, and Julian's just going to be going straight back to the hook, catching out our Nancy player here, who just got unhooked. Does have Decisive Strike active, so I think Julian does not want to go for him. Doesn't want to risk that second gen popping for the DS chase, and there is a tag onto Silhe. We're going to be going to check our generators. We know several of them are quite high in progress, and it looks like he thinks it might be the gen at 12, and he is correct, actually.
absolutely. And it looks like it's going to be a tag on the Bubbo as well, who's already been hooked as well. And yeah, just kind of interrupting this gen. Really well done so far. Just kind of, really building a lot of momentum. But one thing I think I'll say that I think is different about this match than previous is that we're kind of not burning through so many resources very fast. We are dropping pallets, but they're not all being kicked, and I mean they're just being played around for the most part, 50-50s, and Julian's still building a very similar amount of pressure to Zeno in the last match.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe Wraith on Temple of Purgation is just the toughest set in DBD comp. We've never seen it before on this stage, so we really don't know. But both of these teams are kind of struggling on the survivor end to get too many
Oh,
generators done. Julian does not hit that, is going to get stunned. Taking a pallet to the face and going back to kick this generator. Dragon Script still on cooldown, so maybe he wants to wait actually a little bit. Yeah, it looks like he was just waiting out his Dragon Script timer there. And going back, applying Eruption once again. We do see several gens highlighted in yellow, by the way. That's several gens with Eruption applied to them. So the next down here will be pretty significant for our killer. I think I think it's just so hard to catch all of them, and we need a survivor caught off guard. Look at Xeno's gen progress as well. I just don't know if he can do it, Rob.
Absolutely, and that's going to be live being used. Definitely needs to last a bit of time. Doesn't get the injury, and Yvonne's gen is creeping to completion, it looks like. And it's just, man, this might be a loss for Winter here, but you cannot understate how much pressure Julian has gotten in this match. I mean, this is just, textbook really good play here. And now all the gens are starting to pop. I think maybe with a different build, this could have been very doable, but Dragon Script did pull its weight for a while, I'd say. Really building a lot of momentum here. Sohei winning these 50-50s, and it's just, man. Oh, and that's going to be the down, and unfortunately, oh, we see actually Xeno trying to sneak a gen right under Julian's nose. Really, really interesting play from Xeno there. Almost would have worked if Eruption didn't highlight his aura. I don't think Julian was actually really keen to pay that much attention to the gen until he saw the aura from Eruption there. So that was really interesting. Um, we are following up with this chase on the Xeno here, and so far winning a lot of 50-50s on this double pallet setup. Gonna break it now. But yeah, I mean, as you can see, everyone's picked up right now. There's only one injury on the board. Probably going to be healed soon, I'd imagine. And in chase with Xeno as well, who's going to take a tag now. Lost at 50, unfortunately.
Yeah, losing that mind game heading towards the shack, and we are going to be just leaving him. We are still in the 4v1, by the way. There is one survivor on Death Hook, but that survivor is healthy, not in any danger. I think it'll be tough to get a 3v1 anytime soon, but Julian has exerted so much pressure on these survivors so far. Did an excellent job trying to get that tie condition at least. Um, there was just too much pressure, I think, by the survivors on so many different gens. They were working like, it seemed like 4 gens at once, every survivor on a different one. And there will be another gen popping in a second, I believe. I think that is a double on Xeno and Ivan's gen, and a tag coming through onto Silhe. He is going to be just staying here, playing the spiller. Oh my goodness, that somehow does not
Oh,
hit. It really looked like it might, but Silhe with the better ping, the better reaction time, going to be vaulting that pallet and winning quite a few 50-50s here. This is kind of a safer pallet. It's not the safest though. It's definitely winnable if you win a mind game or two. But the last gen pops in.
oh.
That will be a most likely an outed game for Team Elysium. A very well played game by the survivors.
Wow, very interesting, by the way, from the survivors of Elysium. I thought they were doubling as well, but that was actually two separate gens. We were just 99ing them both so they can get resets first, and then play for protecting our injured teammates in the end game. Xeno kind of just holding Julian hostage for just a second there, making sure he can't catch up to the injured survivors, and doing it again. That's so unfortunate for Julian. But hey, really well played by Elysium, and I mean you gotta give Julian credit, right? Like he held a lot of pressure in the early game, and it looked like it was pretty much doable for quite a while there. So definitely huge shout out to both sides, but Elysium taking the first set point, really well done by both sides.
Yeah, that was difficult. That was, I mean, of course it was difficult. It's a 4K4 tie condition, a 4K5 win condition, but I mean, Julian was kind of proving the audience wrong a little bit, you know? He was kind of going for a bit and managed to keep those gens for much longer than I thought he would have. But yeah, it all comes crumbling down eventually once that gen popped. And we were at 3 generators remaining. I mean, yeah, there's not much you can do. But well played overall to Julian, well played to Elysium. We got 3 stages total, which really didn't look like it from the beginning of that game, but Elysium just cleaned up a lot at the end and managed to get all their survivors out of the exit gate. We are going to be heading into the Spirit set. It will be Momo on the Killer on the Azarav's resting place, which is a bit more of a familiar map in comp, not as much of a familiar map for Spirit in particular. But I mean, still just a nice competitive map to play. There's an hourglass shape to this map. It's a bit more of a macro set. In terms of the map shape, we do have to watch the cross. We have to make sure we don't die on the side of the map with a 4 gen or even a 5 gen in rare cases. Sometimes there is a 3-1-3, which we also have to look out for. And I know, Rob, you're a bit in the competitive scene as well. If you have anything to say about the Azor's resting place and the macro on that map, or spirit sets in general, I don't know if you like the set or not.
I'll say this much, right? I'm a big fan of Azerov's resting place. Like you said, yeah. I mean, you and I both are familiar with the competitive scene, and Azerov's, like you mentioned, it's got that eye shape to it, right? And the killer typically should be holding the cross, checking to see if anyone is attempting to cross, right, and catching anyone off guard if they can, right? Um, with Spirit, I think the same thing's going to be seen, but I think it's going to be just a tad more lethal, just because Spirit is so strong in chase. And if anyone attempts to cross and they're found, I think the chase might not last very long. Typically, just because Spirit is so strong in chase, right, and can be dragged maybe a tad bit easier than another killer on Azerov's resting place, typically, which would be Artist. So we'll have to see how Momo handles this. Momo will be playing Spirit for us for Team Winter, and yeah, I'm just intrigued in seeing how this is going to be handled, because this is going to be a very interesting set. I've never seen Spirit on Azerov's resting place, but I'm very, very familiar with Artist on ARP.
Yeah, artists sometimes, Plague sometimes, Demo sometimes is on this map. They do have more common maps, I think, Plague and Demo, but it's on the occasion, you know. And given Spirit's main map is the Wrecker's Yard, it is the same realm, so maybe the same sounds, the same footsteps. So Momo might be a little bit used to at least the same realm. Um, and yeah, we are going to be loading in now. Bubbo, Zynox, Zeno, and Yvonne on the Survivor, Momo on the Killer. This is Winter's pick, by the way, so they are very familiar with this set. I've seen them play it before, and they often do well. So we'll see them play against Elysium now. But Elysium, however, also very familiar with the set. So this could be an interesting matchup to watch, Rob.
Absolutely, I'm stoked personally because I'm familiar with Momo's experience on Spirit. I'm aware that he's actually a very dangerous Spirit player, so I'm excited to see how this is going to go. But we also have to remember that Bubbo is now on Elysium, and Bubbo is also a very dangerous Spirit player. So this might be more of an even set than anticipated. So I'm honestly very here for it. I mean, we might still see Zeno pick up Spirit just because he has in the past, but with Bubbo on Elysium now, I think they might just hand this set over to him. And I think that would be honestly a very interesting choice to see. But that being said, we are loading into the first match of the Spirit set. We have Momo phase walking over to cross to see if he can catch anyone off guard. And yeah, again, I mean, just this is just the macro of this map here, is just trying to catch anyone off guard. We have a 4-gen on the bottom side, by the way, and one of them is open, so we're actually starting that gen. We see someone attempting to cross over on the right side of the map, but not able to at the moment.
Yeah, Dragon's Grip and Eruption instantly applied to that generator on the hill, and we are phasing on this.
Oh,
The Cyanox getting a hit instantly. Gonna be heading towards the top side. I don't think he wants to die in the 4-gen, like you said. There is a 4-gen on the bottom side of the map, and an
oh,
excellent stun by our British player here. Gonna be kicking that pallet, and I think he might be a little bit zoned to the bottom side of the map. Still trying to get top. He makes it to this 4 lane, and does he manage to drop this pallet in time, or will Momo get the down? No, it looks
oh.
like Momo gonna be downing Zynox over at 2. However, agitation might come in handy. I wonder if he's going to try to drag him down the map, down to the bottom side of the map, trying to hook near these generators that have some progress on them already.
I might need to reach out to Momo and see what kind of headphones he uses, because that was disgusting. That, that was a very, very quick down. And with the help of agitation, like you mentioned, we're able to drag Zynox all the way down to the bottom side, actually directly in the 4-gen. So this is a very good setup for Momo. He just needs to hold this as well as he can, and things will be looking good. We do have 2 gens with progress on them. I imagine it's probably the hill gen. Actually, it's not. Maybe they crossed, actually. And that's something that Momo should be paying attention to. But either way, I mean, this is your 4-gen. You don't really care about the gens topside as much unless a win condition is needed to be met with those gens in mind. But as of right now, it seems like we're kind of keen to just take this tunnel out and follow all the way topside. It shouldn't be too big of a problem, I think. Oh, just barely missing.
That did not hit Zynox through the window, which I mean, good for him. He does not have any exhaustion perk to help him. He did have his base kit BT hit off the hook, and Dead Hard is his exhaustion. So of course we do not have that available for us. He's gonna be dying under this pallet. I wonder if anybody's around. It looked like a generator popped nearby, so I doubt anybody's here for the pull quite yet. But yeah, we do see some survivors rotating down the map, and the For the People player is stealthing for this pull. They were the one who unhooked the first time, but they obviously did not get the FTP off that time. I wonder if they're going to be trying for it this time. We have to get this pull for free, or else Xanox will be out of the game pretty fast, I think.
You know, and that's why I like casting with you, Julia. You notice these little things here that I think are really important to build a nice narrative about how the set's going to go, right? If it can be pulled off with Xeno's FTP, right? If that can land, that can give Xynox a nice chase. It'll give him access to Dead Hard. I think it'd be really, really good to see that, and I'm glad that you mentioned it. That just makes things a lot more interesting to think about and kind of analyze. Yeah, really, really nice thing to point out. And right now, we're actually not going for our tunnel out, so FTP can come in, but it looks like we're just going to go for a normal heal because I imagine Bubbo's saying, hey, Spirit's committing to me, you can get the reset off, just go for it. And yeah, that's exactly what happened. Now, we do get the down onto Bubbo, so another follow-up here with a pretty quick down, and Xeno's here for a flashlight save. What? Very well done by Xeno. Oh my goodness.
Xeno bouncing around the map, gets the unhook on Xynox, gets the full heal, doesn't have to FTP, because like you said, Bubbo says he's committing, and gets the flashlight save. Just doing everything right now, helping his team. A very good job by our Tori player, and that will be a chase onto, it looks like he's switching onto Xynox actually. I think we spotted him over at the top side of the map, and it looks like he's
Yep.
back in the main building. This time we do have our Dead Hard. However, I mean, Death Hook now, we will be seeing how long this chase goes. It looks like Xeno's trying to take a hit for him because that 3v1 is detrimental. And Xynox is okay for now, it looks like. He does have quite a few pallets, and I think we might actually be switching on to Xeno. Oh my goodness, we actually don't catch that double back there, and Xeno will be living a little bit longer.
Yeah, unfortunate, honestly, I'd say, for Momo having to switch off the tunnel out and then still having a hard chase with who you swapped to, right? It's got to be a little bit frustrating, but at the same time, like this is a great kind of shift of momentum in Elysium's favor here, and Winter. Momo is just, having to abandon the tunnel out is usually not a good sign for S tier sets. But this might be the secret second strategy here to really pull some momentum back in his favor. We are getting some resets in the background. Xeno is able to last long enough that he's able to just kind of force Momo to abandon the chase. But this demon bait here from Momo, pretending to leave and then phasing right back onto Xeno, just absolutely really pulled some favor in for Winter here. So we're gonna be able to hook topside now, and yeah, I mean, this could lead to a comeback, but Yvonne's got some decent gen pressure on the map right now.
Yeah, not only that, but we do have very, very split generators. There's one gen top, two gens bottom. There was a four gen at the bottom side of the map, but they have broken the generators up by now. Of course, we are at one gen remaining, and Xeno, once he comes up that hook, will have second wind as well. There's the second wind activating now. We see it in the HUD. So not too much pressure for Momo anymore. We have 3 hook stages. We have to make something going. I think at this point, we're playing for fresh stages because with this gen spread and everybody healthy in just a second, well, of course I say that as he gets tagged, but everyone almost healthy, it's going to be very hard to get any pressure back. We just have to get as many fresh stages as possible at this point.
Absolutely, very well said. And yeah, that's exactly what Momo seems to be on the mindset of doing right now. It sounds like Xena was here for a flashlight save, but just couldn't quite get the angle, unfortunately. Momo was kind of, looking at the wall pretty well, so not able to get the flashlight save. But honestly, if anything, that's good for Momo here. He's able to build a little bit more pressure. But the gen pops actually in the background was about to kick the main building generator, but yeah, the gen popping bottom side prevented him from doing that. And now Xeno's here, ready to take a hit for Yvonne, and Xynox should be capable of doing that as well here shortly, I imagine, if he's not already on a gate.
Bubbo is the prime target here for Momo being the only fresh, but I don't know if we're going to be able to find him. There's two survivors that have already been hooked in the mid-map, but
Oh,
I mean, Ivan going down to an excellent phase by Momo in the mid-map, and I don't think he's going to be able to get anyone else after this. Bubbo is pretty safe. I don't think he's been found. Actually, okay, I say that as he gets found, of course, and it looks like he has to make his way out of the exit gate. This might be a little bit difficult because the exit gates are quite far away, but he does have that light to help him up the map. Xeno also possibly available with For the People and a flashlight to help him as well.
oh,
And Zynox with a hit, a very good hit tank. And it looks like they might be out. That phase lasted just long enough that I think he has another one. So if he lands this phase, maybe? Maybe wrong?
oh, he does get the down onto Bubbo and Zynox, and now they're trying to prevent. Oh no, that's so unfortunate for Momo.
He
Oh
picked
wait,
up the wrong
you don't get him. He
player
gets
and
out.
Bubbo gets out. No
Oh,
way.
that's
No way.
oh. Really well played by Elysium there. Just kind of, musical hooks. And now, do you even get Zynox? I mean, he did get a little bit of wiggle progress, and now we're seeing Yvonne and Xeno taking hits, and that's enough for Zynox to wiggle free. So that's going to be the denial of another hook stage, and it looks like that's going to be what four stages, three fresh. Really, really well played by Elysium. And let's
Wow.
see how Elysium's killer does next match.
Excellently played by the Elysium survivors. They're crawling on top of the other survivors that Momo would pick up, the death hook survivor being Zynox, and Bubbo barely made it out of the exit gate. That was close. And yeah, the wiggle progress from dropping Zynox, I mean, you just take two hits and you're out. That hook was just far enough away that it mattered there. So I mean, very well played macro in the end game, of course. We're going to be seeing Elysium on the killer now. Momo's team Winter on the Survivor, 4 stages on ARP. I mean, this is kind of a tough map if the survivors get the macro right, to be fair, so it's not out of the realm of possibility.
I 100% agree with you. And actually, we're not seeing Bubbo and we're not seeing Xeno. We're actually seeing Obi on Spirit, and Obi's actually also a disgustingly good Spirit player. So we've got kind of a few options here. If Obi doesn't feel like it, Bubbo's got it, and if Bubbo doesn't feel like it, Obi's got it. So yeah, we've got a few choices here for Spirit players for Elysium. Um, yeah, I mean this is going to be quite the matchup here. Obi's got pretty I want to say a pretty simple win condition, right? 5 stages, three fresh will be the win condition, and yeah, I mean, like the denial of so many hook stages was just really, really strategically well played by Elysium. They had very, very good, very, very good game sense, and just the entire, the entire strategy of the whole match was just so well played, and I think that it's just something that really needs to be mentioned, right? Because um, kind of just knowing what to do at any given moment is just something that I really really appreciate in these matches here, and it's just phenomenal. Despite Momo just um, making short work of chases here and there. Uh, I mean, it's just very impressive from both sides, I'd say. But Elysium taking this 4 stages in the first match, and we'll have to see how this is going to turn out now that we switch sides.
Yeah, Momo's chases were not bad at all. He was getting some fast downs. Even Zynox at the beginning of the match went down quite fast to Momo's second phase there. I remember you commented on it. Very impressive. Um, and he got the second stage as well on Zynox, but that pull came through for free. Even Zeno didn't even have to use For the People there. He got the heal off because Momo chose to stay at the bottom side of the map, and did not go back to the hook there. And yeah, just so much pressure lost because he lost his tunnel out. He managed to find him again, but at that point, I think it was too late. So this excellent macro by the survivors, pulling Zynox when Momo was far away. And yeah, that spirit phase can only get you so far up the map. If you're all the way at the bottom side of the map below the bus, you really don't make it back up with one phase. I mean, Xanox can just run up a little bit, and that's the entire phase gone. You just have so much opportunity for pressure regained on the survivor end in this set, I think, and it's really interesting to see it played on ARP for once because I mean these things are realized, right? I just didn't realize things like that, and it's nice to see.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, very well said. Very, very well said. Um, yeah, I'm interested in seeing how Obi's gonna do because Obi, I mean, we have two teams with two very, very strong Spirit players here, and like we mentioned earlier, his Momo's chases were pretty quick. I mean, he was getting downs very fast. I mean, this is one of his best killers. I mean, obviously Momo's known for his blight, but little known fact, Spirit is also one of his best killers. He's very, very strong on Spirit, and I think that allowing the reset onto his tunnel out was kind of the straw that kind of broke the game plan, and I think if you were able to get back to the unhook with a little bit more pep in his step, I'd say. I think things could have turned out a bit differently. Like we could have been in a 3v1 pretty quickly, not long after. We could have denied FTP. We could have denied. Well, I mean, I don't know if you deny FTP. They were already healing, but you could have denied quite a bit of pressure, honestly, and entered a 3v1 with someone injured, et cetera, et cetera. You know what I mean? Like it could have been a bit of a different game for Momo here. But either way, we're going to be loading into the next match here with Obi on the Spirit for Team Elysium versus the survivors of Winter, that being Kenshi, Jaden, Momo, and Julian. And I'm interested to see what Obi can pull off here.
Yeah, a bit of a 3-1-3 gen split this time for Obi. It looks like there's a gen mid map and 3 gens bottom, 3 gens top. The top 3 gens all corrupted here, and the survivors likely spawn up here, trying to make their way down the map, and Obi needs to find them. It looks like there's some birds respawning over here. Birds landing, which means there is a survivor in the area, but no sight of them now. So Obi gonna be trying to find them around the edge map, maybe phasing, trying to catch someone off guard, and we'll see what happens next.
Absolutely, very well said. I mean, Obi's doing a great job of holding this cross, and it looks like the survivors of Winter are very okay with playing this slow. We do see Jaden here up top side of the map, and we're going phase and try and catch him off guard. We do see a little bit of grass moving. It's actually Momo who is disturbing the grass, and we're going to get a pretty quick tag onto him very early in the match. I don't think that Momo was intending to be seen here because Jaden was in chase already. Down on the pallet is someone nearby. Jaden is nearby, and it looks like we're going to actually prevent this entire exchange here. We do drop the firecracker, but it looks like Obi wasn't even phasing yet until after the firecracker was dropped.
Does he get this? He's so close for it. I think he... Hold on. Oh my
Oh
goodness,
no!
barely does not get that pallet save, but I mean, Obi kind of lost Jaden for a second there in the middle of his phase, and Jaden managed to reself. Just wasn't close enough. He has the balance landing, not the sprint burst, so couldn't make it in time, and is going to be heading down the map. Our win con is. I think it's 4 stages on 4 fresh survivors, or 5 stages total, and so I mean I don't think he has any reason really to tunnel if his chases are fast enough, but an excellent stun by Nico here. Gonna be sending on the bus and heading around where a gen pops, by the way. It doesn't seem to matter though. He's gonna be actually looking for the survivor who popped the gen, I think.
And does find Julian, who popped the gem, by the way. So, nice mention. We do get a tag onto Julian. No sloppy butcher in play, so that reset's not going to be too difficult to achieve. And the pole is actually coming off in the distance. Jaden has some more progress on a gen. Kenshi was on a gen earlier and had to get off in order to get the unhook and reset. And Momo's healthy for the second chase. Can we last long enough to see this chase kind of buy some more gen pressure here for the match? It looks like we can. Momo's on the dead hard as well, so if we can press E at the right time, we'll be kind of big chillin'. We don't, unfortunately. I mean, gotta be honest, right? Hitting dead hard out of a Spirit's phase walk is very difficult to do. You know, so like it's definitely worth mentioning that it's not gonna be an easy thing to pull off, but definitely worth celebrating if Momo can pull it off. But yeah, we're not seeing it this chase, and Obi's gonna phase back to the bottom side of the map and try to interrupt all the gens if possible, but another one will pop. So we're now down to 3 gens remaining. So some good gen pressure from Winter's side, but we'll have to see if it'll be enough to meet the tie condition or maybe even set the win condition for Winter.
Yeah, 3 gens remaining, but all 3 of those generators are at the top side still. We do have 2 more further down the map, but yeah, the 3 gen still remains at the top side. And Momo is hooked directly in the middle of it, unfortunately for Team Winter. He's also the FTP player, so we don't have FTP like we did in the previous set to help us here. And that's a tag onto Jaden through the pallet. I mean, Obi's pretty happy with that. I think he's just going to be going back to the hook, securing this death here. The only person who can trade is Kenshi. I don't know if he's here, but we'll have to see in a second. I think there's a good chance that Team Winter might just be forced to play the 3v1 here. They can't really trade. That's a fourth hook stage, or a third at least.
Yeah, that's really well said, by the way. I think it's more worth it just to see gen progress and maybe some resets. We do see Jaden getting reset in the distance. Julian might follow soon after. He does. That's going to be a tag onto Kenshi. So now so now one injury's on the board, and I mean we'll have to see if we can get some gen progress. But I mean, we need to make sure gens pop before 2 more hooks come in. Otherwise, that'll be the win for Elysium. And Kenshi will be dying on pallet. I don't know if this is a bluff or if someone's actually here for the pallet save.
It could be a bluff. It looks like both of the survivors have healed up, though it's unclear if they're nearby. There was a little bit of gen progress on that mid-map gen, but with Obi looking around this much, they definitely had time to rotate in for the pallet save. Um, and I mean, yeah, there's Jaden. Kenshi does get picked up though. Jaden gonna be just dropping that pallet and playing around the phase now, around this bus. He does win that pallet, but our phase is quite long. That will be a tag onto Nico, sending it bottom side away from the 4 gen, and I mean, we have some pretty good info on the other 2 survivors. Kenshi did just get picked up. Julian somewhere on a gen, maybe, or just resetting Kenshi now. And that phase did not connect. Jaden going to be surviving a little bit longer at this 4 lane, but how long can it last?
That's a great question, honestly. Yeah, and we're actually gonna die on pallet. And if that was a bluff last time, I mean, it worked wonders. And no, we're actually here for the pallet save. Julian was able to get it and a cheeky blind not long after. So we're doing some real shenanigans here, looks like, and it's kind of working. We do get oh, that's so unfortunate. We're down through the pallet. Oh man, that's rough. We've seen that too many times. And Julian's actually here for the flashlight save, but gets found quite early, unfortunately. So that's just gonna be a pick onto Jaden. And yeah, another hook stage is obtained for Elysium, and now only 1 remains before the win is met for Elysium. But if Winter can prevent this from doing too much damage, they can maybe see the tie condition.
Yeah, maybe. This generator is likely going to get interrupted, though. I think Obi definitely going to phase over here soon, which means, though, that the pull is free for Julian. So Julian sending it for the unhook. That's going to be Nico off the hook now. And we don't have second wind, like we said. That was on Momo earlier. We don't have really much to heal us up. They're going to be sending it bottom side to maybe do some altruistic heals, but Obi hot on their tail, on both survivors' tails. It looks like he wants to go back to the top side. And there's Dragon Script coming through on Kenshi. I wonder.
Oh!
Okay. Well, that's going to be the Tycon, I think.
Yeah, that's rough for Winter, but wow, what a find for Obi, right? That was kind of incredible. You know, I don't know if I'd be hopping in a locker after Obi just found Julian in a locker. Okay, wait, hold on, what's happening? I'm a little bit terrified right now for Kenshi. I mean, that was scary enough for Julian, I imagine. But actually, it's kind of working at the moment.
Yeah, maybe the thought process is you found 1 survivor out of a locker. There would never be 2 survivors in a locker, right? That would just be crazy. But I mean, it seemed to work. Kenshi will be going down to the exposed, though. That is the Dragon Script getting the down here. And Julian trying to play for the flashlight save. And he will be taking the down in the process. So that will be Jaden as the only survivor standing, Kenshi on the hook. And that is the win for Team Elysium.
Yeah, very unfortunate. Yeah, and it looks like Winter's just accepting their fate. You know, I think that we could have seen the completion of more generators, but they're kind of just like, okay, you guys took the win. Let's just get it over with. Completely understandable. You know, that's gonna that's just kind of how competitive DBD is. You know, you set a win condition, it's not going to be a very easy one to defend, and it just kind of, you know, that's how the ball rolls in competitive DBD, right? But still, kind of be a big shout out to both teams for a very entertaining matchup. I mean, we had two very interesting sets, right? And while Elysium did take the 2-0, Winter really put on display here, and I'm intrigued in seeing both of these teams' next matchups.
Yeah, that's the third 2-0 in a row. We saw we saw a similar thing earlier today. There were some closer games, there were some less close games, but yeah, the 2-0 for the third set as well. That's going to be Elysium on top here. Some excellent games though, very excellent performance by Elysium on both Survivor and Killer. And yeah, Winter not knocked out quite yet though. They're going to be dropping into a different bracket. We do have a second chance for these teams that have been in the losers half today. But yeah, we're gonna be seeing the fourth matchup today being Ascent and Radiant. That is not a cross ping matchup, so we don't have some crazy rules like we had earlier. That's two North American teams, and that's Trickster, Unknown, and